Yeah, sure.
So what? Okay, started already. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we are on.
So we are. Okay,
So
that's
we
good
are.
to know.
So hi, I'm Rosmarie and
I am Wies. Yeah.
Yes, and we are in Netherlands.
We are. Yeah, we are. We are in the forest.
We are in the forest. Yes, and we did some houses of birds cleaning before.
We hang around this house. Indeed, we hang a lot of bird houses because we like birds. We like listening to them, and we like to see them building their nests and stuff. So we have a lot of bird houses that need to be cleaned so they can make a clean nest for the coming year. Yeah. Did you like it? Great.
And yes, we are in the. Please say it again.
Je ware Natuurhuis. That's your true nature house in Dutch.
Okay. Yes.
So that's the house we are currently building. Looks a bit finished, perhaps, but there's still some work to do. So it's an holiday house made of ecological material, still in the making, still in the finishing touch.
Yes, and yes, so how did you come to this plan that you, or how did you choose to do such an amazing place? Because I'm here now for some days and I know it's an amazing place.
That's good to know. It's good to have you here too, by the way.
Thank you.
It's always nice when something beautiful you are making that is being received, actually. And it's not everybody that can receive it, and it's a joy actually seeing you receive from it. So it's the big why, because we want to, me and my friend Jeroen and my friend Ja, really have a strong desire, had also when the idea started, to be ourselves. And I really experience when I'm being myself, I'm being in harmony with nature. So actually in this, when I started knowing a bit more about myself, I really started knowing as well that I want to live in a house that feels like nature, that's like made of the natural material, like this house is for the biggest part, and that has the natural color, like the sand, soil color, or the wood color, and that I want to do that in a way that it's very in harmony with nature. And so ecological friendly, whatever, it doesn't really have a definition what is in harmony with nature, I would say, but at least that I know it's in, I know, and Jeroen, and when we truly be ourselves, we know when it's in harmony with nature. But actually then it doesn't have a definition. That's funny, like I had a lot of ideas of what harmony with nature was, but that's a sidestep, by the way. But it isn't always. It isn't always. It's sometimes when I think it's not in harmony with nature and it's very bad, it actually, when I was really opening for the energy, what nature would say about it, or how when we would ask the house, how do you want to be built, and what material can we use for it? If we really opened up and had no point of view, it usually, it sometimes did not disapprove or leave out any chemical component or whatever. For the most part, it did, like it wanted to consist out of natural material, but I I actually noticed there I had quite some definition of what harmony with nature was that didn't appear to be true. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
So the big why is then in the natural house, it's easier, I would say, to, as you already somehow experienced, and I experienced that myself too. And we knew that in advance. We already had some sense of if we would live in a house, if we would live a certain way, what would make it easy to be ourselves, and what will be in harmony with nature. And we had some sense, okay, that it should be an ecological house made of natural material. And
it was before in this question, how would we feel when we are in such a house?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I already knew, like, it would be I would be able to take a deep breath very easily, and it would be like it would feel like how the walls are breathing as well, something like that. And in fact, they do, because they are ventilating very well the moisture out of the air. They do regulate the temperature quite well. And yeah.
And this is what you really created here.
Yes.
So because my sister and her husband are here as well, and my brother-in-law, and her husband, he's said it in the morning. I think that it's so different for him, and he is not such. He is not always with consciousness. Also,
it's nice to hear, actually.
Yeah. But also receive that the atmosphere and everything is good in the house.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. That's really the intention. But also, it is a stated fact, that natural building is healthy in many ways, because it's keeping the moisture level inside on the humidity. That's an English word. It's indeed keeping the atmosphere in the house. It's regulating that. So in a practical way, it is.
And what is absolutely at the moment talking to me is the fire here.
It's making you warm, I guess.
It's making me so warm. But it's also something very special how you created that.
Yeah. So indeed the stove in English, it's the heater. It's made from loam, and it's able to. It's a very efficient way of using wood for the heat, because it takes a long way to heat up. The air is not going straight out. It's going first. Some ways it's going first takes a longer way to travel through the heater before it actually leaves the roof, through the and so a lot of the heat is also burnt, and that makes sure it doesn't leave a bad smell or a bad emission out, because it's the air is burned, the smoke is burned twice before it leaves, and it takes way longer. The heat stays more in the heater, which gives it more time to heat up. And the big mass, like the big wall of the heater, is also requires more time to be heated and can give more heat, or can give heat longer. So with 2 hours of burning, we can keep the house warm for a day.
The heating in the floor will also be heated by this.
Yes.
This is absolutely awesome.
So and that's possible because it's able to heat the water. We have a machine behind the heater that's able to take the heat from the heater onto the water. So we can also take a bath or a shower with
water.
Which is heated by the heater.
So awesome for me because of that. So what for me it's also so awesome that you are created this together, because I know often conscious people really have problems to create together because they are so unique and they have so much to be an allowance with each other.
Yeah.
And for me, it's very, very important that we learn in a conscious way to create together. And
that will be fun.
Will you tell you something about that? How you can do this? How is more, maybe not the best question.
Let me tell you how you. I wish I could.
How I wipe out how.
Yeah. And it's something about it. Yeah, sure. Because it is. I have never experienced that before. A way of working together this way. So me, Jeroen, and Ja know each other for more than 5 years, and we are building now for 2 years. So before we started building, fortunately, we knew each other already. And we were already doing a lot of consciousness. At least I can tell that Jeroen, not to make a compliment or whatever, but he was on that journey of becoming more conscious quite a bit longer than me or Ja, and he embodied quite some tools and quite a bit of just being himself. So that helped a lot for me to things he already learned, kind of to show that to me, but not always literally, but just in the energy. What I would say, funny that you say that conscious people have trouble working together. I didn't really hear that, but it makes sense to me indeed. Actually, now you tell me, I said, yeah, that there's quite some truth in that. And how much of that is because when we choose to become more conscious, or when we are more conscious, how much more do we mirror this unconscious part of someone else? Mm-hmm. And how much more confrontation is possible, and what's possible from a confrontation, but how much more confrontation is possible with two conscious people. It's what I noticed is nobody triggered me more than Jeroen or Ja. Mm-hmm. In some of my things I really didn't want to be conscious about, because I've hidden it somewhere. Because on one day I decided it was I judged it. Went from often what Jeroen or Ja is then mirroring back to me is something I'm not wanting to be present with. It's something I judge, like not being good enough or whatever. And it's like it's coming out. It's working together with conscious people it's having a space, as if there is a space building together where just that which is not me, mm-hmm.
and it comes out.
Yes. And how much more ease can I have with that still? It's today, actually, it happened a lot before. Actually, before recording this video this afternoon, something came out to me of where I did not want to express myself, or where I decided I have to talk a certain way, which is not me, because being me in my talking, it's not allowed. It's not being received by others. Others will punish me for it. And it had some emotional charge with it. And the emotional charge makes it difficult to be present with. So I don't really want to know about it. And that's why it is today, it was today still here. And it came out. And just from a moment when I started to stop judging that, even, I could actually let go of that. I could make a choice to talk however I would like to talk. Mm-hmm. And so that's an interesting part of working together. So actually what I would really like to say about it is when there's a confrontation, be thankful for it, or ask like, what is to be more in allowance with the things that we mirror back, or acknowledge that that is something that I am. What made the cooperation with Jeroen or Jai easier was acknowledging that it's something that can happen, that they can confront me, and in such a moment, the less I stopped, the less I judged myself for those things that came up, and the more I could see like, this is just what happens. The not me comes up, and it's not bad, it's not wrong. I just chose it once. What can I choose next? Will I choose to keep fighting against it, or will I just allow it to go, or will I just choose something more fun or more ease, and or something that actually helps me in creating with consciousness, or help me to build a house. That made it easier, because then the confrontation or with the person doesn't have to take long if I stop fighting it. And that has not been easy always, but it was the key in how we actually always managed to go further, actually, or allow another one. Yeah.
Yes, and step by step, you're coming in, seeing yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And more and more and more.
That's true. If I would look back before we started, and how much more self I actually found or chose to be, that's a lot. And it went way quicker during the building process, when having to work so much together, than it did before. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you for your vulnerability. I cannot say this word.
Vulnerability.
Yes,
Yeah.
To share this with us as well, and because many people think everything is all the time ease, joy, and glory. So what?
Yeah,
all of life comes to us with ease,
joy, and glory. Yeah,
all
of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes it looks not so funny, and then again you step up, and I really enjoy this moments when things open up,
right?
And then it's open up a new space, and then it's more of you. And yes,
it's also what I notice indeed when it's like as if every choice to be yourself, or to let go of what's not yourself, that it does make this opening indeed. And
and then you need to,
and it's an intention to it's the intention to also with this house to experience making that easy, by just actually allowing the house to invite kind of that space, or that choice, because it's like it's my choice to not have a space, or it's my choice to open up. So how much could this house invite me and anybody else who is sleeping here or having a cup of tea here to make a choice of opening it up, instead of choosing not to, choosing to make it more complicated than life actually is.
Yeah.
And I agree with all those people. It's always ease, joy, and glory. Yeah, it naturally is. It naturally is, definitely. And I found myself very creative in doing unnatural things, and not allowing the ease, joy, and glory, or all of life coming to me with ease, joy, and glory.
Oh, I thought this is a German part, not have ease, joy, and glory.
Indeed. I would enjoy saying that, but no. It's typically me.
So.
But if there was, if it was not for all those other people that would experience it, I probably wouldn't have to build this house. And if it was just for the German people, I probably would also not have to make this. I would have to build this house in Germany, I guess.
Maybe you have to build another one.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, yeah, we are for sure.
First, you're going to. So I heard already what is also planned with all the trees and plants and.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow, and also eating plants.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because around here is a forest. It's not really a space for vegetable gardens, but we found out that there's actually in the forest also already, without us planting some extra things, quite some edible plants growing. It's how fun actually walking out the door and connecting actually with the forest by actually finding something to eat. It gives me a very big sense of communion always, finding something edible in nature. It makes as if we already often ask in Access Consciousness, now what can I contribute to the earth today? What can the earth contribute to me? To actually apply something practical, doing something practically allowing the earth to feed you in a direct way. Gives a very gives me actually a big sense of myself, my true self. Something else. Yeah, one thing to you said conscious people on your question, and I really love you for asking that question. Actually, a lot of conscious people are so unique and they have difficulty working together. One way, actually, we also so we're working on this project, the house, and I especially in the beginning, and still have a lot of point of views of sometimes function not out of consciousness, I function out of point of views actually created, thinking of how it should be done, how it should be worked. What is a beautiful living room, etc. Or what's a beautiful cupboard to make? How should a cupboard look like? And that we have to make ourselves because it needs to fit a kind of curvy wall. And Jeroen would say something that is not matching that, and then we would disagree. What we almost always did on a certain moment, till it got to a point, was asking, instead of seeing who is right and why would I be right or why would you be right, or connect with the consciousness, and how can you connect? Just asking the house. House, how would you like this cupboard to look like? House, how would you look to like? And every time I ask that question, I kind of make myself step out of the point of view of how it should be done, or how I thought what I thought would be right, and I would just open up for the information of indeed how the house would look like, because the house has consciousness, and the heater has consciousness, and the table has consciousness, and there is a certain way which is lightest. And always when I asked, and when Jeroen asked, and we always found one communal choice to how to make it or whatever that felt lightest, and it felt lightest to me, and it felt lightest to Jeroen, or it felt lightest to Ja. So actually, I would say when you're truly being you, maybe more simply said, I think it's never my heart that's in conflict with the heart of the house or with the heart of Jeroen. It's just the inventions or whatever, basically in my head. It's basically in my head versus Jeroen's heart or Jeroen's head or Ja's heart or my head. Heart to heart to heart. No.
There is nothing between.
No, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are, of course, different possibilities of how the house should look like, because there's not one way, but there is always lighter or heavier. And through that, which actually feels light, I would have to ask the question. And I asked them, then I would ask the house, or I would ask the project we are working together on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always have so much point of view how things have to be done, and often they are. We don't know it's a point of view. We think it's an awareness, but sometimes it's a point of view. We did this point of view maybe a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. And it's an energetic point of view, because sometimes I thought, no, I am not having a point of view about it. I remember, but because I didn't have it, I didn't find it logic, for example. That but still, most point of views, and Access is telling us that, and I love that they make it so clear. Actually, are energetic. Yeah. It's something I'm a bit feeling not so right about. Jeroen making a choice, making cupboard a certain way, and I thought, no, it's logic. It's good, but I have an energetic point of view still of how a kitchen should be like, but I don't. So because I still did not ask and then I wasn't really present with it until I would really ask, how would you look like, and then I can really become present with where I'm actually not wanting to ask that question, and then I get present with the energetic point of view of how it looks like. And it's not I wish it was all more logic, actually, and then I could change way quicker. But often it's that's why I like Dane for saying if you could it all figure out cognitively, you would have already changed it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So most point of views indeed. So that helps as well. Also, do I really have a point of view about this, or do I not? Or what does not allow me to receive from the being of the house, or the consciousness of Jeroen? Something to add. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that as well.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to share that. It feels good.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Something else.
So ware Natuurhuis is a holiday house in the practical terms to rent it, because I'm talking about other people and talking about me, but that means this is something we're soon finished, and it will actually never really be finished, because we will find something to play with around to make more beautiful, to change. But it will be a holiday house also for people, and a workshop space for yoga classes, for Access classes, for body classes, and to rent out, and for people to have a holiday. So for tourists, for me, for Jeroen, for Ja, and for tourists. That's the practical sense. The house. You are welcome also to visit the place.
Yes, and I would recommend that totally to come to this place and to really relax and receive from this place. Yes.
You are welcome to.
Well, thank you so much. And we put the link under the video, so you will find it in Facebook and on the website, which is still in progress.
Soon we update it, yeah.
And yes, then you can find it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.